following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score Breakdown Show presented by Hoop Ball. My name is Adrian Benjamins and I'm joined by Neil Rochlani. And this episode is brought to you by Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. Get yourself some delicious coffee and taste the Kona difference. Head over to hawaiianisles.com and Amazon. Neil, my man, how are you doing? How are your playoffs now? Now that we're deep into the week.
Here's the thing. I gotta buy in one of them, so I'm sitting pretty there. I should be strategizing and picking up players ahead of time, right? Not doing that. I'm stressed out over my one matchup where I did not get a bye even though I won the league. Very upset about this whole setup. Anyway, it's the dogfight, Adrian. It's going to go down to the last game, the last player. Anyway, I'm having a really good night in my Roto League, which I'm happy about. So I feel really good about that. Anyway,
nice.
How are you? How's life in you're in the Hoop Ball League? I know you're finding out there.
I'm doing pretty good in the Hoop Ball League. I think last time I checked, I was up 6-3. You know, yesterday for Wednesday, for some reason, I only had like 4 guys playing. And that's kind of like really unusual because Wednesday is normally a heavy day. So I think tonight I got a pretty big night. So I'm hoping to kind of cushion that lead I got, but I'm looking pretty good. But I'm going to take a look at this weekend, and I would suggest for you, man, if you think your matchup's going to be that close, look to see if like the worst guy you got, you can drop to get like a guy that maybe plays back-to-back Saturday or Sunday or like something like that. Maybe take a look and see if you can maximize that schedule. What do you think?
Yeah, I really have to do it because I'm going against good player here, and I'm up. I mean, like every category is like plus, or not every category. Like three of the categories are like plus or minus 1, like steals, blocks, assists, turnover. Like it can swing either way. It's crazy. Right
wow, that's insane. Man.
Anyway, I'm sure we could probably talk more general basketball than our specific things. Should we look at some news and notes here? Do you have anything about fantasy before we get into the box scores?
I don't really have any news and notes. You know, Neil, I'm on Twitter like all day long.
Yep.
My day job, I'm sitting at a desk literally all day. So what I usually do is if anything pops up, because I'm just literally looking at the news feed all day. So if anything pops up, I'll usually on my phone write some notes like, hey, this is something we need to talk about. And man, nothing really came to mind. Nothing really caught my attention. Are you seeing anything on your end?
No, I'm not. I mean, Wiggins came back, which is nice if you owned him. Jeff Teague might be done for the season, although I don't think many people are counting on him at this point. Not really, nothing else. No major player news. So nothing there, more just the box scores, which have been interesting tonight. I think it's my turn to kick it off.
I think so.
All right. OKC, Indiana. This one was Thunder 106, Pacers home team 108. They hang on for the victory here. You can get your guys a bonus later. He had a monster night. OKC, though, let's start with Russell. 19, 14, and 11. Triple-doubles yet again, 8 of 18 from the field. And he made all his free throws, 2 of 2. Nice to see that. Had a three-pointer, had 4 steals and 2 blocks. So just did everything right tonight. 4 turnovers, which is not 4. Yeah, 4 turnovers. Not too bad. I mean, not great, but not too bad. Steven Adams, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist. This guy is just a consistent machine. Paul George, probably should lead with him. 36 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. 10 of 23 shooting, so not great, but he did go 10 of 12 from the line. Pretty solid there. 6 3-pointers. That is monster. 2 steals. Quiet night from Jeremy Grant. Just 3 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. Did have 2 steals and 2 blocks to kind of help you in a couple categories. Not much else here. Terrence Ferguson played 21 minutes, nothing really fantasy-wise. Schroeder, off night here, 7 points and 3 of 10 shooting. Did have 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Nader, 17 minutes, decent stats, but nothing worth talking about. Same with Markieff Morris. Nerlens Noel, 14 minutes. Doesn't really do much to help you. 2 turnovers to hurt you, though. All right, Adrian. It looks like the Thunder are basically like hitting their stats every night. We really have nothing new to report here. Do you have anything to take away from this side of the ledger?
Man, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record. Paul George, man. Neil, he will be probably one of my biggest regrets this year because in my home league where I had pick 10, I either had pick 10 or 11 out of 14 teams. I went Victor Oladipo when Paul George was on the board. And Neil, this guy might finish as looks like he's going to finish as the number 2 overall player this year in 9 category leagues, man. What an I thought he was going to be good this year, but I was thinking like maybe end of first round type value. I had no idea he was going to be this fantastic. So kudos to Paul George, man. It just, and it's like, I see lines like tonight and man, it's just never ending, dude. This guy is just amazing and looks like a great fit on this team, and really interested to see where he's going to get drafted next year, Neil, because I don't really foresee any changes to the Thunder. It's not like he's getting value because they have injuries or anything like that. I mean, you can foresee him doing this again next year. Would you take him pretty high next year, Neil?
Yeah, that's the problem. I think he's probably going to have a bit of regression, obviously. I don't think he's going to finish second if that ends up being the case in totals. I'm probably going to – I usually avoid guys coming off like career seasons because there's usually that regression and they get taken a little bit too early for me. So I probably won't end up with him next year. Although you never know what situation you're in, right, and what draft pick you get and who's kind of out there. But probably be overvalued for me. But I've always been a big Paul George fan. And so and we kind of knew this was going to happen, right? When Kevin Durant was with OKC, he was at one point the number 1 fantasy option with Russ, like 4 years ago. So a guy can be this great fantasy-wise and play alongside Russ, and so no, total shock from that perspective.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And, one other thing to note, too, most definitely I think Anthony Davis would still be the number 1 player if he wasn't going through this issue where he's getting limited. So, Paul George wouldn't be the number 2 player because, if Anthony Davis was 1, that would push probably Paul George down to 3. So, he's looking really good in sitting in this number 2 spot, but it's, I don't know, it's a little bit fluky in that sense. But anyways, all right. I love the Thunder, man. And as we said in the last show, can't wait to see this team in the let's get to the postseason already, reality wise, man. So, anyways, I'm going to jump over on the Pacers side. Neil, you mentioned Sabonis and, outstanding tonight, but I feel like this is the first game in a while where he's really popped and had a flashy stat line. And man, he looked good tonight. 26 points to go along with 4 assists, 7 rebounds, 7 of 12 shooting, 12 of 13 from the line, just killing it from the free throw line. And, even though he's coming off the bench, I still feel like he's a really safe option for fantasy. Darren Collison has just been solid ever since Victor Oladipo went down. 17 points, 4 steals, 7 assists with 6 boards, 6 of 11 from the field, 5 of 5 from the line. Wes Matthews with a nice game here. 16 points, 2 steals, 2 assists with 7 rebounds, 4 threes tonight, 6 of 15 from the field. Bogdanovich does not fail ever to score 20. Neil, I can't remember. I'm not joking. I know this sounds like an exaggeration. Has he not, I'm going to look at his box score later, or his game log. Has he ever not scored over 20 points this season? 23 points for him tonight, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 threes, 7 of 16 from the field, 7 of 11 from the line. Thad Young with 11 points. I like the defensive stats here. 1 block, 3 steals, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. He was 5 of 10 from the field. Miles Turner feels a little underwhelming with just the 10 points, but block, 2 assists, 6 rebounds, 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 2 from the line. I already mentioned Sabonis off the bench. Not much else off the bench, though, or anyone else really worth talking about. What do you think of the Pacers, Neil?
The only thing here that's a little bit interesting is Wesley Matthews having a nice game. Played 36 minutes, not shot well, but took a lot of shots, 15, made 6 of them. Made 4 3-pointers, 2 steals. We thought he might be valuable coming to the Pacers after the trade with some of their injury issues, but he's had just a couple good games, so I would not count on this, but you could do worse than stream Wesley Matthews, I guess, if you're very desperate. But don't expect lines like this every night. Other than that, though, it's pretty much what we know. Like you said, Bogdanovich has just been a scoring machine, 3-point machine this season. It's been fantastic to see. All right, the second game of the night, head over to Orlando where they just crushed the Cavaliers here, 120-91. Let's see what happened on the Cavs side. I know Larry Nance was out. Kevin Love gets to start, plays just 24 minutes, though, so very limited here. 3 of 9 shooting, 10 points, 8 rebounds, an assist, a block, not much else. Cedi Osman, despite playing 35 minutes, doesn't really do a whole lot. He does get 8 points and 8 rebounds, 4 assists, but nothing on defensive end, no 3-pointers, no free throws tonight. Zizic gets 30 minutes, doesn't really do anything. He's a very low-end starter. He kind of reminds me of Cody Zeller when he's out there. That's kind of like his ceiling, I believe. Brandon Knight, someone I streamed this week just to kind of see how it would work out. Tonight he did, I wouldn't say did well, but 12 points, 5 of 10 shooting, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, a 3, a steal, just an assist. I thought he might do better than that. Had a rebound. Colin Sexton. This is what you and I want from this guy, right? 23 points. We know this guy is going to be a good NBA player. We believe in him. 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 of 16 shooting, 2 3-pointers, and a block. Jordan Clarkson, 27 minutes off the bench, does okay. Even got a Sauce Castillo sighting. 20 minutes, Marquise Chris, 18, Nwaba, 17. Brandon Knight, I think I wouldn't say he's interesting. I'd put him in the same category as Wesley Matthews. Won't expect much, but you never know. He might do okay down the stretch. That's really it here. Colin Sexton, I'm going to look at as a late-round target next year. Hopefully his buzz doesn't get too high. Any thoughts on the Cavaliers?
Super happy that you mentioned Colin Sexton, man. I agree with you 100%, Neil. I'm on board the Sexton train. I think he's going to be a solid pro. And, man, how great has this latest crop of rookies, this 2018 draft, been for point guards with Doncic and Trae Young and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I think, is going to be pretty solid. And now we're seeing Colin Sexton. I mean, what an outstanding draft this has been for guards and some bigs, too, as well. But anyways, Cedi Osman, he's been on a hot streak. So I feel like he's finally kind of cooling off here, which is a little disappointing because, I'm rolling with him in that hoop ball staff league. So I was hoping he would stay hot, but hopefully he'll bounce back in the next one. And other than that, man, it's like this team's kind of become a little disappointing for fantasy. I like your take though on streaming Brandon Knight. He's looked pretty good. I didn't even think he would be viable at all this season. So, I'm really happy that he's playing well right now. And I think Kevin Love, I mean, obviously you got to stick with Kevin Love, but I think what we saw tonight, him getting limited, them getting blown out, that's something we could see quite often for the remainder of the season. So I would not be surprised if we get some more games like this from Kevin Love and some of the other Cavs starters. All right, I'm going to flip over to the Magic side and going to start with Aaron Gordon, 21 points, a steal, a block, 4 assists, 6 boards, 3 threes, 7 of 16 shooting from the field, 4 of 4 from the line. Evan Fournier, man, this guy's been disappointed. Or this guy's been a disappointment for me. Also, I have him in that hoop ball staff league, and he really hasn't popped yet this week. 10 points, 2 steals, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 threes. I mean, it's a nice low end. Well, I mean, he did do a little bit of everything here, so I'll definitely take this line. 4 of 11 from the field. Jonathan Isaac, this one's disappointing because, Neil, I love when he gives me some defensive goodies and gave me a goose egg in steals and blocks, but 10 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 3 on 3 of 9 shooting, 3 of 5 from the line. Got to stick with Isaac because he could easily have a good game in the next one. Vucevic, man, another guy who, just like Paul George, kind of exceeding what I thought he could do this season, and another great value guy, 19 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, 11 rebounds, 9 of 15 from the field. DJ Augustine, we see him get hot and cold, and he was scorching tonight. And I'm just loving this. His shot was on 7 of 11 from the field, a perfect 5 of 5 for the line for 20 points, 2 steals, 7 assists. Really nice game. He even gave you a 3 tonight. That's pretty good. Terrence Ross, man, his shooting efficiency has been really down lately. Only 5 of 12 from the field for 14 points. Did have 2 steals, a block, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. So I do like that he kind of sprinkled in some goodies in some of these other categories, but he's been hard to trust lately. And speaking of hard to trust, not a lot else to talk about on this team. Neil, what do you think of the Magic?
Good to see Augustine continue to have play pretty well if you're running with him as a low-end point guard. Terrence Ross kind of gets back on the track tonight a little bit, knocking down 3 3-pointers. I'll sound like a broken record on Vucevic. My God, he is someone that I wanted and did not reach for, and I'm regretting that one. But yeah, Jonathan Isaac, like you said, the reason it makes him such an interesting fantasy option is the defensive stats can be kind of like otherworldly, and the last couple games he hasn't really delivered, so it's unfortunate. But obviously, you just hang on to him. He's getting the minutes. He's out there. He will deliver at some point. All right, I'm gonna go on to the third game. Sacramento 120, Celtics 126. At one point, it looked like the Sacramento Kings might pull off the upset. I thought they were leading throughout this game. I thought they might hold on, but the Celtics come back and win here, as great teams tend to do at home. Anyway, on the Kings side, Harrison Barnes has really come into his own now in Sacramento, and put up 20 points tonight, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 3-pointers, a steal. Bielitsa gets the start. Not much of a line here, just 9 points and 6 rebounds. Not much else to talk about. Cauley Stein, low-end double-double, 10 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 of 7 shooting, has a steal. De'Aaron Fox, so glad to have him in my Hoop Ball League. 19 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 3-pointer, 3 steals. Does struggle from the line, though, 4 of 8. Healed, someone I love this season, and that might be my biggest regret, because here's the thing, Adrian. Once you get into like that 6th, 7th round, you should really reach for the guys you think are going to pop, right? And I get greedy, and I think, okay, I can wait one more round for this guy. And Buddy Hield, I just knew was going to be good this year. 34 points. He's such a pure shooter. 14 and 24 shooting, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 6 3-pointers. Bagley's back. This is the guy I know you were big on this season. Speaking of good big men, good to see him back in the lineup. 14 points, 6 rebounds on 19 assists. Kind of takes away Giles' value, who gets 19 minutes, which isn't bad, but not much fantasy-wise. Bogdanovich, he's been a disappointment. Someone I thought would have a much better season. 18 minutes tonight. He's really fallen out of the rotation. I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of Kings games. They play on the West Coast. I'm here in Chicago, so I don't get to see a lot of them. But what I saw last year, I thought was going to translate to a good season this year, and it just does not look good. This team is definitely more talented than I thought, so maybe that's one of the reasons. But we'll see. He will not probably have any draft value next year. We'll see if he changes. Anyway, any thoughts on the Kings?
Very happy to see Bagley back and playing, man. Was very scared when he went down with that knee injury. So, I thought when I first saw it, I thought likely he could get shut down for the year and we wouldn't see him again. So this is outstanding that he's back and playing. Really like what you said about Bogdanovich. Let me take that back. I'm disappointed at Bogdanovich's outlook, because this is a guy, last year I had such high hopes for, kind of reminds me of like a poor man's Luka Doncic. And I was kind of thinking that this guy like had a big future, had a huge career ahead of him. But the Kings all of a sudden had gotten really deep on the wing when they added Barnes, the emergence of Buddy Hield. We know that Aaron Fox loves to have the ball in his hand. And as you said, Neil, Bogdanovich has just kind of fallen out of the rotation. He's kind of been the forgotten man. And it's been so disappointing to see because I think he's really talented. And I think on the right team, he could be a really great player. So, I agree with you too, your take on, do we even draft this guy next year, knowing he's going to be coming off the bench, getting minutes in the high teens? Probably not. So I think best case scenario is he somehow gets moved onto another team. But until that happens, I think we can just kind of disregard Bogdanovich or not really pay much attention to him until he lands in the right situation. All right, I'm going to check out the Celtics side. And Neil, you mentioned this being a close game, and I actually wanted to place a bet that the Kings were going to win this, man. The Celtics have not looked good lately. I thought the Kings were going to take this and upset them. But, man, Kyrie Irving was huge tonight. Monster triple-double, 31 points, 12 assists with 10 rebounds and a steal, a block. Didn't shoot that great from deep. He was only 1 of 9 and from downtown and 11 of 28 from the field. But he was 8 of 9 from the line and still had a pretty nice game. Speaking of nice games, Marcus Morris, man, 21 points, 2 steals, 2 assists with 13 rebounds. He had 3 threes, shot 7 of 15 from the field, 4 of 5 from the line. It's pretty nice. Al Horford, 12 points, a steal, a block, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 5 of 9 from the field, 1 3 and 1 of 3 from the line. Marcus Smart, 7 points, a steal, 4 assists, 6 rebounds. He added a 3, shot 3 of 5. Tatum with 15 points, 3 steals, 4 rebounds, 7 of 10 from the field. That's some nice shooting, and 1 of 1 from the line. Just really nice, well-rounded production from this whole team. Even Jaylen Brown contributed off the bench, 22 points for him. He had 3 threes on 9 of 16 shooting from the field. Gordon Hayward, man, he's really fallen off, but 10 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 of 7 from the field. Probably another guy kind of like Bogdanovich that next year going in the draft, we're probably going to lower his value compared to where we drafted him in previous seasons. Neil, what do you think of the Celtics?
Yeah, that's really curious for next season. You're talking about Brown there or Hayward? Who are you talking about at the very end?
Hayward.
Yeah, I wonder where he goes. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Anyway, as you mentioned long time ago when we first talked about the Celtics, we really don't know night to night who's going to step up. We know Irving will. I mean, that guy's ball dominant, incredibly talented offensively. So he's always going to put up great stats or consistently put up great stats. Horford's been pretty consistent, and Tatum's obviously a very strong talent, so those stats will follow. Tonight it was Marcus Morris, though, and Jaylen Brown, nice night scoring. But that's going to change from night to night. Not a bad night to go with Boston, though, with their players, because Sacramento's a high, a high offense team, high pace team. Thank you. Well, high pace, and so there's going to be a lot of stats put up tonight. All right, but no real changes from me. L.A., Toronto, game closer than I thought. Toronto wins 111-98. Lakers very shorthanded, as we know now. LeBron plays 31 minutes here, 29 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Rondo, he's now a centerpiece of this offense. I think he's got to be owned. He probably hasn't picked up everywhere, but it feels weird to say that. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, had a steal as well. Reggie Bullock, I streamed him tonight thinking he had a horrible game last time. He was going to bounce back. Didn't really happen, though. 7 points, 3 rebounds, 2 steals. Kuzma, even he disappointed, got in foul trouble early here. 7 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, no blocks, a steal. Off the bench, it was Caruso, someone I think no one's ever going to pick up or trust. Caldwell Pope did okay with kind of producing a smattering stats across the board. That is really it. Josh Hart, he's been, talk about disappointments on team. He's been the major disappointment this season out in Los Angeles. And Wagner, any chance of him being fantasy relevant has completely evaporated. So It's really just Rondo if there's a pickup out there. Bullock, I thought, or Caldwell Pope, maybe, but they're too inconsistent to trust. And Caruso, obviously, I don't think is trustworthy. So, any thoughts on the Lakers?
Like your take on Rondo, he looks like he is definitely worth a pickup, and it has been. I feel like he's been reliable the last few games, and it looks like that's going to continue. Really shocked that Reggie Bullock isn't putting up better numbers. From what we saw in Detroit, if you would have told me he would be playing on this depleted Lakers team in a starting featured role, getting 30 minutes a game, I would think Bullock would be putting up some decent numbers. So really, really disappointed that he hasn't popped on this team. And, you mentioned Josh Hart, and man, this is a guy that I thought was going to be a stud this year. I loved what I saw from him last year. I thought he was going to take over and steal the point guard's job from this team, and it has just not happened for this guy at all. I know he's been dealing with some injuries, so maybe he's just not full strength. Maybe that's what's holding him back, but man, I really hope that, we see improvement from him next season, because this season, man, has just really lowered my expectation of him. I thought very highly of him coming into the season. Other than that, man, I don't want to talk about the Lakers. They're so disappointing, man. They're so frustrating.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating to be a Laker fan right now, man. So let's move on to the next team, the Toronto Raptors, a team that is not disappointing. And, I want to ask you something, Neil. We talked about De'Aaron Fox earlier. He's getting a lot of love for most improved player. Another guy that I think is in that conversation, Pascal Siakam, 16 points, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 10 of 12 from the line. Now the shooting he still put up a nice line. Even with going 3 of 16 from the field, he still gave you, if you took away the field goal percentage, gave you a pretty good line if you weren't looking at that. So that's outstanding. And then, Neil, the other guy I think we got to throw in there is D'Angelo Russell. So after we're done, want to get your take. Those 3 guys, Russell, Fox, Siakam, who's got your vote for most improved player? But Kawhi Leonard doing his thing, 25 points, 2 steals, 4 assists, 8 boards, 5 threes, 8 of 20 from the field. Gasol, happy to see him get the start. 15 points, 2 steals. Oh, because he's starting because Ibaka is a fighter, and Ibaka loves to throw punches for no reason. So that's why he's starting. But I just love that Marc Gasol starts. 5 points, 2 steals, 4 assists, 7 boards, 2 threes on 5 of 10 shooting. Another guy we're missing from this lineup is Kyle Lowry. Neil, when I found out that Kyle Lowry was going to miss this game, I felt like it was shock to get Jeremy Lin in your lineup. Even in DFS lineups, you got to play Jeremy Lin, right? It's a little disappointing here. Just a low end line. 9 points, 1 block, 1 assist, 7 rebounds, 1 3, 4 of 9 from the field. Green, I think I played Green, Neil. I think my Magic 8-ball let me down here on this one. 3 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 3, 1 of 3. So he basically, his only shots in this game were threes, and he was 1 of 3 from downtown. Off the bench, Norman Powell, there was a time where I thought this guy was going to be really good. I think it was 2 or 3 seasons ago. I thought Norman Powell was going to be a solid pro, and I don't know if it's just because he's really buried on this deep Toronto team, but tonight we kind of got a glimpse of what he's capable of. 20 points, 2 steals, 2 assists with 8 rebounds. He was 3 of 6 from downtown, 7 of 14 from the field, 3 of 4 from the line. And other than that, man, can't really trust anyone else off the bench. I mentioned Lowry and Ibaka missing this game. Neil, what do you think of the Raptors?
Yeah, Lin was a little disappointing knowing that he was going to start tonight. That's frustrating. Danny Green, yeah, you roll the dice. Sometimes Green gives us, and sometimes he taketh away. Tonight, unfortunately, a rough one. As far as most improved player, only because he came from like the lowest expectations. I'd have to say Siakam because I don't think anyone saw this coming. I mean, Russell was obviously the number 2 pick, so having him bounce back and become a solid NBA point guard does not seem that crazy. De'Aaron Fox, 5th overall pick, second year, you think he's going to improve a lot. They both have improved a ton, but maybe don't they have like comeback player or something, or don't they have something else besides most improved?
I'm not sure, but you know what?
No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Yeah.
I really love your take, though, Neil, because, we knew that D'Angelo Russell was going to start. We knew that De'Aaron Fox was going to start, and they were going to be have a premier role. We didn't know that about Siakam. I think at the beginning of the year, it was like Valanciunas and could possibly be starting with Serge Ibaka, and Pascal Siakam just came in and just ran away with the starting role.
Yeah.
So, as you said, I think just the fact that he probably had the lowest expectation out of those 3 guys, I would agree with you to give this guy the award just for that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but those other guys are very worthy too. We'll see how it shakes out. It's just fantasy-wise, I'm just like, it's one of those things that you just get so happy. It's like you miss and miss and miss, and then you get someone like Siakam, and you're like, I'm so happy about that guy. Anyway. All right, let's go on the last game of the season. What am I talking about? Last game for us. There's actually another game after this. I'm delusional. I think I'm a little tired here. Minnesota versus Utah. Minnesota loses 100-120. No Jeff Teague tonight. Wiggins did come back. So Covington, I don't know if he's ever coming back to this season at least. Derrick Rose out again tonight. So this team shorthanded. Towns did play, which was great to see. And he delivered a Towns-like night, 26 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 9 of 15 shooting, 3 3-pointers, and a steal. Saric, I hope you let him go, Adrian. 22 points tonight, still cannot get much done. 10 points, just a rebound and 1 assist. No real other stats to speak of. Wiggins, he struggles shooting, 14 points, a lot of empty calories, just 3 rebounds and a steal and a block. Nothing else to speak of, no assists tonight. Josh Okogie starts in 16 minutes, doesn't do anything, goes 1 of 2 shooting. Tyus Jones, I've been streaming him with Teague out, and he it worked tonight, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 6 of 9 shooting, a steal. Bates Diop, someone we thought he could be valuable if Wiggins did not come back, but he did. On the bench now, coming in the second unit, 26 minutes, not much fantasy value. Bayless, likewise, Reynolds, Gibson, Tolliver. And then it was a kind of a runaway here in the fourth quarter, so some extended minutes from the bench. Not taking much away from this, except I think Sarge, another guy who will not be drafted next year, who I think was drafted this year. So look for him to fall off the radar unless something changes with his situation. Tyus Jones, though, I wonder what happens with Teague. I wonder what happens with him. I think Tyus Jones can be a decent NBA player when given the chance. So that's it. I think Tyus Jones should be streamed as long as Teague is out, and there are rumors that Teague is going to be out the rest of the season. So we'll see how that plays out.
Happy that you mentioned Tyus Jones. That was going to be my take, is go pick up Tyus Jones. Nights like tonight, man, 9 assists. I know most everybody can use, assists are not easy to find, and this is a guy that can provide that. So even scored pretty efficiently tonight, 6 of 9 from the field. And as you mentioned, Neil, with Teague likely being shut down, this guy feels like a no-brainer if you need point guard help. I know me personally, I'm going to look to pick him up in a couple of my leagues, and I'm done with Dario Saric, Neil. He's still on my team, but I mentioned earlier, this is the Hoopball Staff League. I mentioned earlier I'm going to take a look at the schedule, see if this Friday, Saturday, Sunday I could get 2 games from somebody. He's going to be my drop. So likely as soon as this show's over, I'm going to take a look at the schedule this weekend, see if there's anybody I can pick up to get 2 games from for the rest of the week to maximize my schedule. And I will not feel bad for dumping Dario Saric. He's done. And great take. I won't touch him next season. He's just he's got to prove it to me for him to be worth a pickup. All right, let's take a look at the Utah Jazz side, and I'll start with Donovan Mitchell. 24 points, a block, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 3 on 8 of 17 shooting from the field. He was 7 of 9 from the line. Joe Ingles has been looking a little bit better lately. Yeah, fouled out of this one. I'm sorry. I'm looking at turnovers, not fouls. I apologize. But I feel like this is like his second or third pretty good game in a row. So hopefully he can keep this up. I know a lot of people think that he's been a disappointment and had high hopes for him this year. 12 points, 2 blocks, a steal, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 threes on 5 of 11 shooting. Gobert with the double-double, 10 points, 13 rebounds. He had 2 blocks, 1 assist. He had 5 fouls in this one, so may have had a little bit of foul trouble. 5 of 7 from the field. Derek Favors has been playing really good lately, man. He had a monster game the other night and followed it up with another nice game. He's like flirting with some, or actually he didn't have triple-double in this one, but he's been just playing pretty good lately. I've really have lowered my expectations for on him, so I'm really happy to see him playing well. 17 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks, a steal, 8 of 12 from the field. Ricky Rubio with 8 points, 8 assists, a steal, 3 rebounds, 1 3, only 1 of 7 shooting. He's kind of been struggling shooting from the field. In the last show or the last time we talked about the Jazz, I mentioned possibly streaming Crowder, who had 18 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. He had 2 threes, shot 5 of 10. And if you're hunting threes, Corver, who had 3 threes tonight for 11 points, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 rebounds, 3 threes, 4 12 from the field. You probably got to be in deeper leagues to be streaming these guys, but I think they are worth a stream if you're really desperate for some help. Nothing else to talk about on this team. What do you think of the Jazz, Neil?
Yeah, like we said about Favors, he is someone who's been able to play alongside Gobert and still get a lot of minutes. Not a stretch 4, but still gets the opportunity there. And it's good to see him delivering. I like what you said about, both Corver and Crowder. This is a 4-game week for Utah, so I streamed Corver trying to get 3-pointers. It's worked out decently. Not as obviously, you want to see like 6 3-pointers, but I'll take 3 for sure. That's really it. Not much else to take away from this team. Rubio's back, looks just fine. Did get in foul trouble tonight. And Ingles, like you said, I have him in one league. I almost considered dropping him at one point this season because he had a stretch there where it was just really poor. And I heard he had some family issues this year. I don't know if you've heard, but I heard he had some off the court stuff he's been dealing with that has maybe distracted him a bit from his game. So. It's good to see him playing well now, and this is kind of what we expected when I drafted him. So that is it on Utah, and we are done for tonight. Both you and I are done, even though there's one more game left, because we have a fill-in coming in for next game. His name is Brandon Marcus. He's a professional broadcaster. So I'm going to put the expectations really high on him that I'm sure he's going to be fantastic. Adrian, you know him better than I do.
Yes.
What can you say about Brandon?
If you guys have been checking out the premium live shows, the Fantasy NBA Tonight shows, you probably know Brandon Marcus. He's been killing it over there. And man, he's for sure, Neil, as you mentioned, an experienced broadcast. He's for sure going to make us look bad. So, but, hey, you guys, it's been a great week. Neil, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, man. I think after this week, I think we only got 3 weeks left, just only a few weeks of your fantasy playoffs. So we're kind of coming down to the tail end of it, man. It's kind of sad. What do you think?
Yeah, all my leagues end by April 1st. So the season goes to the 10th, but I think a lot of leagues end, that week, the 31st or the 1st. So it's sad, Adrian. It's really sad. I remember when we couldn't believe when the season first started. Yeah. Now it's like we're coming down to this the semifinals in many cases next week, playoffs, and then the rotisserie. You're just kind of hunting stats here for the last 2 weeks or so of your league. So it's been a long season, but it's been a fun season.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's been good, but we will be back on Sunday. Thank you guys so much for listening, supporting the show. Hit us up on Twitter. He's at Ball with Neil. I'm at Adrian Benjamins. And Brandon Marcus will be back for one more game. Thank you. Thanks, you guys.
Adrian, Neil, boy, you guys are far too kind. What's up, everyone? I'm Brandon Marcus. And yep, those were kind words from those two fellas. I can say I am a broadcaster. UC Irvine women's basketball, to be exact. Joining you, it was the Mavericks and the Nuggets. And boy, they almost gave me overtime in my final game, or rather my first game, stepping in here for those boys, Adrian and Neil. Denver, a 199 winner over the Dallas Mavericks, as Jokic, who did not make a shot in the first three quarters, came to play in the fourth as he drained 4 shots in the fourth, including a game winner to knock off Dallas. Let's start off with the Dallas side, because I think that's the one that has a little more intrigue, considering I'm assuming that by now most of the Denver assets are gone on your fantasy team. But the guy that really stands out and continues to is Jalen Brunson. 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists tonight in 39 minutes. And I think that's the important number here, folks. 39 minutes, 8 of 15 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, and 1 for 1 from the free throw line. So he gave you points, he gave you rebounds, he gave you assists, and he gave you good percentages. Now, Jalen Brunson's a guy that worked his butt off in college. He was tremendous at Villanova, and the question would be not when and not if, but how soon this guy would actually be a contributor on the basketball court. The question is he going to be something that we're going to be able to rely on in fantasy? Now, we didn't think so initially, obviously, and then he's gotten these minutes, and he's taken advantage. And here's what we're looking at now in the month of March. So 20 points tonight. He's coming off a 34-point performance with 5 rebounds and 4 assists, the same exact rebounds and assists total he had from tonight. 18 the game before, 18 the game before that. Now that's 4 straight games of 18 or more, and he's playing 30 or more minutes in his last 5 games. This is a guy that you want to add if he's on your waiver wire. I understand that a lot of you guys are in the playoffs, so you're wondering, what about their playoff schedule? Well, the Mavericks play on Saturday, so that's obviously just one more game this week. That's it. They don't play Sunday. Then they'll play on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Saturday again. So here's the reason why I like him. Now, if you're in a good position in your playoff matchup this week, or you have a bye, you can go ahead and add him on Monday. And the reason why I'm saying that is because he's going to give you 3 games in 4 days. And you can't ask for anything better than that. Obviously, the Warriors have 5 games next week. They're going to have a couple of back-to-backs, but you're assuming that their stars are going to get rested. So you're not going to get many better situations than the one that Dallas is presenting. And so Jalen Brunson's a guy that I definitely would add right away, someone that can contribute in all different categories. He has not missed a free throw yet this month, and he's continuing to shoot well, which is what's surprising to me, because he obviously is a guard, and guards can be a little messy sometimes. Well, he was 1 for 10 on March 2nd. Since then, he's gone 4 for 5, 4 for 11, 8 for 11, 6 for 13, 12 for 16, 8 for 15. I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. He's a guy that I'm definitely going to grab. Luka Doncic, boy, the guy's tremendous. 24 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, 10 of 23 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3. Obviously not great there, but he got his numbers for you. You're happy with it. What about Dwight Powell? This is another guy that you've heard be a hoop ball favorite over this entire year. And finally, it's coming to fruition here. 16 points and 10 rebounds for him. And again, the minutes is something that I love. 36 minutes tonight, 5 of 10 from the field. He also gave you a 3 and 5 for 5 from the line. So he helped your percentages, and he gave you a double-double as well. Now, one more note on Dallas before we shift over to Denver. It's that they kept a very short rotation in this game. Only 3 guys off the bench played double-figure minutes. So that's something that you want to watch, because Maxi Kleber played 29. Nobody else played more than 18 minutes. So clearly you're seeing that you can trust pretty much 5 guys right now for Dallas. You can trust Dwight Powell. Dwight Howard, you wish you could trust Dwight Howard. Dwight Powell, Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, Tim Hardaway. I'm still good with him. He's going to get the volume, so he'll give you some good nights with points. He'll get you some assists. He'll get you threes. Field goal percentage, you might hurt a little bit, so no doubt about that. And if you want to stream Kleber, I'm cool with that. He had not been great, obviously, of late, but with 11 points and 11 rebounds tonight, I'll take it. No problem with it. So just something to keep an eye on. Like I mentioned, with the 3 games in 4 days coming up next week, Dallas is a team that you want to keep an eye on. Now, let's look at Denver. Paul Millsap. Boy, fountain of youth for this fella. 33 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. 14 of 19 from the field. The matchup was good for him. There's no doubt about that. Dallas is a team that's not great against bigs. And Jokic was 4 for 9. Obviously, like I mentioned, did not do anything until the fourth, but still almost got a triple-double. 11 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists. So Millsap feasted. He's actually been really good recently. I own him on a team. I'm very happy with him. And I'm excited that Denver's going to have 4 games next week. In case you're wondering about that schedule, they'll go Monday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. So don't worry if you have those Denver assets and you may be trailing early on your head-to-head matchup next week. Well, you're going to get your Denver guys on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and that'll definitely help out a bit. And there's one league where I own Paul Millsap and I own Jamal Murray. So hopefully those two guys are able to help out. Speaking of Murray, 4 of 13 from the field. Not a great shooting night for him. 38 minutes. Still love that. You got to love the idea that Isaiah Thomas now is going to be sitting and not going to be playing. That'll help out Jamal Murray. And it will also give some more minutes to a couple of other guards, Morris and Beasley. And Beasley came off the bench with 12 points in 21 minutes. Morris, 31 minutes, and he gave you 7 points, 4 assists, 2 steals. Keep an eye on both those guys. I'm not adding both of them. I'm just watching both of them right now. Those are two guys that can definitely help out. They're going to play some minutes off that bench for Denver. But like I mentioned, Jamal Murray, great. I'm fine with him. Jokic, obviously, tremendous. Paul Millsap, great. Now, what about Barton and Harris? Those are two guys that were hurt earlier this year. What do you do with them? Gary Harris is a cut for me. He had one good game. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. This is just going to be something that you're going to have to wait for next year. The kid from Michigan State's good, but 9 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. That doesn't do it for me in the playoffs. Go ahead, cut bait, especially if you need to stream during the weekend. Go ahead and do it. Will Barton, I'm holding. 11 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 4 of 9 from the field in just 27 minutes. You would like to see those minutes in the 30s, no doubt about that. You can think that if he gets in the 30s, maybe he gives you a couple more points, a couple more rebounds and assists, but you'll take the 3 counting stats from the steals and the blocks, and then 1 more from 3, so 4 counting stats. You'll gladly take that. So all in all, I think what we're learning from this game is that Dwight Powell's a guy that if he's on your waiver wire, go ahead and add him. Jalen Brunson, I think, is a priority add right now, especially with what Dallas is going to present to you next week. And then for the Nuggets, just trust your Nuggets and keep an eye on Beasley and keep an eye on Morris with the news that Isaiah Thomas will not be playing for the foreseeable future. So that'll do it for me. I hope you enjoyed this quick recap of Nuggets Mavericks. Big thank you to Adrian and Neil for the kind introduction. I hope that I followed suit and did well enough to be welcome back next week to help out those fellas. So until next time, good luck, everybody. Go kick some butt in those semifinals or finals, whatever you're in, and we'll talk to you next time.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.